In the busy streets of Mushin, Lagos, stood a house that everyone in the neighborhood knew too well. It was a cream and brown two-story building with 6 apartments of 3-bedroom flats. It was always noisy and dramatic. There were tenants who resided there, but later they would joke that they had not rented a house but had rented a house of commotion. They called it Alabi's house of commotion. Why? Because the Alabi family was a polygamous home and they always entertained the neighborhood with their endless drama stunts. Never was a day without exchange of words and punches, name-calling, mischievous and any terrible or funny scenes you could ever imagine. The landlord of the house, Alhaji Rafiu Alabi, was not an ordinary man. He was a proud Yoruba Muslim, respected in the mosque, admired for his wealth and feared by his tenants. He was also a man of 3 wives. Yes, 3 wives. He took good care of them. Each wife occupied a flat except for the youngest wife who stayed with him. Whenever it was either the turn of the first or second wife for attention, Alhaji visited their respective apartments to perform his duties. Together with their children, they turned the compound into a stage where quarrels, laughter, betrayal and pepper fights happened almost every day. Alhaji Rafiu Alabi was tall, with a round belly that showed his love for amala and goat meat. He wore his white kaftan proudly and always had a matching cap. When he walked, he carried a cane like a headmaster, not because he needed support, but because it gave him presence. His first wife, Aisha, had been with him the longest. She was the wife of his youth. She was strong-headed with a voice that could silence the whole compound. She always reminded the other wives, "I was here before you all. I am the original wife." The second wife, Monsurat, was younger, sharp-tongued, and famous for her fiery temper. She was very industrious, but what made her feared in the compound was her weapon, ground pepper. Whenever she was angry, she would shout, "I will pepper you today," and everyone knew she meant it. Then came the third wife, Rukayat. In the past, she had been Monsurat's best friends. They laughed together, cooked together, and even borrowed each other's clothes. But when Monsurat traveled for a short while, Rukayat stayed behind, and somehow, just somehow, she became Alhaji's third wife. Since that day, Monsurat's heart had burned with betrayal. And so, in one compound lived the landlord, his 3 wives, their many children, and tenants who paid rent. Every day in that house was never ordinary. One bright morning, tenants were outside washing clothes. Children were playing with old tires, and the building seemed unusually peaceful. But peace never lasted long in Alabi's house of commotion. Suddenly, a loud voice rang out. It was Monsurat who shouted, "Rukayat, you again? Do you think I have forgotten what you did to me? Thief, husband snatcher, you swallow betrayal like food. Today, I will pepper you again." Rukayat was folding her arms and replied, "Really? Monsurat, was it my fault that your husband saw better quality and married me? If you were good enough, would he have looked at me?" Tenants stopped what they were doing. Children ran closer. Everyone knew this fight was about to get interesting. Monsurat quickly disappeared into her kitchen and came back holding a small black nylon bag that contained ground pepper. Before anyone could say a word, whoosh! She poured the pepper straight across Rukayat's face. Then Rukayat screamed, "My eyes! My eyes! Monsurat, you want to blind me?" Tenants shouted. Some rushed for water. One tenant poured a bucket so hard that it splashed on another tenant's clean clothes. Now, 2 separate quarrels had started at once. The children clapped and danced, chanting loudly, "Mama Monsurat has peppered Mama Rukayat. Mama Monsurat has peppered Mama Rukayat." The noise dragged Alhaji Rafiu out of his afternoon nap. He stomped out with his cane, his cap tilted sideways. Then Alhaji shouted, "What is it again? Why are you all disgracing me? Why can't I have peace in this house? Every day it is a pepper fight. Which landlord in Lagos is called to the police station as often as me?" But even as he scolded them, his eyes sparkled because he secretly enjoyed the way his wives fought for his attention. That evening, when the noise had died down, the tenants gathered outside and gossiped. One of them whispered, "This pepper woman will hurt someone one day." Another laughed. "Honestly, the fights are entertaining. Where else can you cook dinner and watch a live drama for free?" They all laughed. However, at the Alabis, their children were not left out of the drama, because if the mothers fought with pepper and insult, the children fought with pride and competition. One evening, after prayers, Alhaji returned home. Before he could remove his sandals, 3 of his children rushed forward. Wasiu, Aisha's son, bent quickly to pick his father's slippers. Kafayat, Monsurat's daughter, grabbed his prayer beads. Saidi, Rukayat's son, prostrated flat on the ground, shouting, "Daddy, Daddy, look at me." Alhaji almost stumbled over them. Next thing, he snapped, "Do you all want me to fall down? I only have 2 legs. I do not need 3 pairs of slippers." The children began to argue amongst themselves. Wasiu said, "My daddy loves me more than all of you. I will be the one to inherit this house." Kafayat shouted back, "Be quiet. My mother cooks his favorite meals, not your own." Saidi boasted, "That's not true. I will travel with daddy to Kwara for the festival. You will all remain in Lagos." Soon punches were flying, sandals were scattered, and the mothers rushed out, each defending her child. The tenants gathered and watched. Then they shook their heads, saying, "We thought we rented a house, but what we got is a theater." One day, Alhaji made a mistake. He gave Wasiu 1,000 naira to buy kola nut, but he did it in front of the other children. Immediately, Kafayat burst into tears and said, "Daddy dashed out money to Wasiu again." Saidi shouted, "This is preferential treatment. He does not love me." Within minutes, the wives were at it again. Rukayat shouted, "So, Alhaji, you love Aisha's son more. No wonder Wasiu behaves like a landlord." Monsurat clapped her hands and replied, "Confess it, Rukayat. You are jealous because your son has no sense." That evening, the entire compound burst like a marketplace. The tenants leaned by their doors, listening and laughing. When the Ileya festival came, the compound turned into a carnival. Rams bleated, music played loud, and the smell of fried meat filled the air. Alhaji Rafiu always bought 3 big rams, one for each wife, as he knew that if he bought only one, it could lead to war. But instead of them concentrating and cooking in peace, it brought more arguments. Aisha pointed and said proudly, "Look at my ram. It is big like a cow. I deserve it." Monsurat hissed, "Your ram is thin like a stick. Mine is the fattest. My husband bought this one with love." Rukayat smiled and said, "My ram is the best. I saw when Alhaji touched it himself and smiled. That means he loves me most." The quarrel spilled into the cooking. Each wife spiced her meat differently and bragged that her soup would be the tastiest. Children fought over fried meat. Tenants licked their lips but dared not ask for any. In other years, when Alhaji hired a yellow bus to convey his family to Kwara for the Ileya festival, the journey was always worse. Inside the bus, children fought to sit closest to their father. The wives quarreled over seats, each of them carrying their mark of mischief. Monsurat smuggled fried meat and hid in her bag. Rukayat hid puff-puff, and Aisha carried a cooler of jollof rice. The driver got so tired of the noise in the bus that he almost abandoned them. On the way, they sang Islamic songs, but before long, insults were mixed with the singing. By the time they reached Kwara, Everyone was exhausted, but as soon as they stepped down from the bus, they arranged themselves neatly, pretending to be one happy family for the villagers to see. One Ileya morning, the compound was busy with slaughtering of chickens and rams. Some tenants carried buckets. Children were playing around. The three wives were cooking, and then Monsurat and Rukayat clashed again. They argued over seasoning and ingredient. Who is supposed to have more in order not to be cheated? Monsurat remembered her small black nylon bag that contained ground pepper on top of one of the cooking pots that stood beside her. In anger, she raised it and poured the content on Rukayat. But this time, some of it splashed on a tenant's little child. The child screamed in pain. The child's mother rushed out and saw what happened. Then she wept loudly. "This woman wants to blind my child. What did we do to deserve this?" All the tenants exploded in anger. "We will not pay rent again. We shall pack out from here. Every day is trouble. What kind of house is this?" The case involved the police as their patrol van arrived. The police officer jumped down, confused by the noise. One officer shouted, "We heard there is a fight here, but what kind of fight involves pepper? Are you cooking food or cooking trouble?" The police wanted to arrest Monsurat, but Alhaji intervened and pleaded that it was a family feud that could be settled within themselves. But the police warned Alhaji that in case such a scenario reoccurred, then they would place an arrest, and so they left. The embarrassment was too much that at a point, the people that lived within the neighborhood gathered, pointing and laughing at them. To save his face from shame, Alhaji scheduled for a family meeting. He invited the imam and the community elders. The meeting was convened the next day in Alhaji and Rukayat's living room. The three wives sat on one side, fuming with anger, while the imam and the community elders sat on the other side, looking at the three wives with dismay. Tenants and children gathered outside the living room, listening carefully. One of the elders cleared his throat and said, "Alhaji, you pray 5 times a day, but every day what we hear from your house is pepper and shouting. What is this shame?" Then, without giving permission to talk, each wife suddenly defended herself. Aisha blurted out, "As the first wife, I deserve to be respected, but these younger women insult me every day." Monsurat said angrily, "If I use pepper, it is because my heart is still burning. My best friend betrayed me and snatched my husband from me. Tell me which woman will not be angry at what she did?" Rukayat replied, "Betrayal? I did not snatch anyone. Alhaji saw me, he admired me and married me. Monsurat is only jealous because I am more beautiful than her." The imam banged his stick on the floor. "Enough! The two of you must be ashamed of yourself. What are you teaching your children? This madness must stop." Finally, Alhaji Rafiu stood up. His belly shook as he raised his hands. With a heavy voice, he said to his three wives, "If you do not stop this pepper disgrace, I swear I will marry a 4th wife. Then all of you can fight her as well." The room went silent. Outside, the tenant burst into laughter. So, the imam and the community elders were able to resolve the conflict, and each wife grudgingly agreed to let peace reign. Monsurat was given the last warning about using ground pepper. As from that day, the wives learned to tolerate one another because they would not want Alhaji to bring in a 4th wife. Nevertheless, the Alabi family continued, a house of endless drama, laughter and rivalry. The children still schemed against one another, the wives still hissed at and eyed themselves as the days goes by. But the tenants shook their heads, saying, "We thought we rented a house. We did not know we rented a house of commotion. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you love family drama stories like this, don't stop here. I have more tales waiting for you. Each one carries its own lesson, laughter, and emotion. Go ahead and watch another one. You will enjoy it too. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe if you haven't. Turn on your notification bell so you won't miss the next story when it drops. Thank you for watching, and remember, every tale carries a lesson if only we choose to listen. Until I bring another true life tale your way, goodbye and remain blessed.